One of the best ways to connect with another person is to agree or disagree with them. In this video, I'm going to give you 4 different language items that you can use to show agreement and disagreement. Hi friends, I'm Dr. B, the ESL doctor. On this channel, I make videos with English lessons and tips to help you improve your English and connect to your world. If that sounds good to you, please consider subscribing below. In today's video, first, I will show you how to agree with someone. So agreeing with a positive statement and then agreeing with a negative statement. Following that, I'll show you how to disagree with someone. Again, disagreeing with a positive statement and disagreeing with a negative statement. So let's get started. First, I want to go through how to agree with someone who has made a positive statement. By positive statement, I mean a sentence which does not include a negative word like not or never. In this case, we're going to use the word so. After we use the word so, we're going to follow it with an auxiliary verb and then the subject. In most cases, you will be responding to someone else, so the subject you will use is I. So let's go through the different auxiliary verbs that you might possibly use. So first of all, if your conversation partner is speaking using the simple present in the be verb or the present progressive tense, then you can respond using the auxiliary verb am. If they use another simple present tense verb, then you can respond using the auxiliary verb do. Then, if they are using a simple past verb using the be verb or the past progressive, you can respond using was. And if they are using another simple past verb, not a be verb, you can respond using did. Some other auxiliary verbs that you could use include will for future tenses, have for present perfect tenses, and you can also use modal verbs, should, must, can, and so on. As I mentioned before, the structure we're going to use to show agreement with a positive statement is so, auxiliary verb, subject. In this case, I. So for example, if my conversation partner says a sentence in the present progressive tense using a be verb, they might say, I am watching a YouTube video. If I want to show that I agree, I would simply say, so am I. Another example, let's say they are using the simple past verb. I watched a YouTube video last night. The response here would be, so did I. And of course, we can use a modal verb. I should get more sleep. And if I want to agree, so should I. On the screen, I'm going to put some more sentences, and I want you to think of the correct response. Remember, so plus the auxiliary verb plus I. In the first example, we have a simple present verb with a be verb. So our response here should be, so am I. Our second example is a regular simple past verb, and we are going to respond using so did I. And finally, the third verb is a simple present verb. It's not a be verb. And so be careful, we need to use so do I in this situation. Okay, let's now move on to agreeing with a negative statement. And by negative statement, I mean a sentence that has the word not, never, or another negative word in it. Now, the formulaic expression we're going to use includes the word neither. Neither is a word that can be pronounced in 2 ways. You might say neither or neither. Now, following the word neither or neither, you're going to follow it with an auxiliary verb and the subject. In this case, the subject we'll use is I. Keep in mind that the auxiliary verb that we're going to use is just the base standard auxiliary verb. That's because Neither is a negative word. We don't need to repeat a negative word twice in a sentence. So here are some examples. If my conversation partner says, I am not watching YouTube right now, the correct way to agree with this negative statement is, neither am I. If they are saying a statement in the simple past, for example, I didn't watch YouTube last night, the correct agreement with a negative statement would be, neither did I. And finally, if they say something using a modal verb, for example, I can't swim, we can respond by saying, neither can I. Let's go ahead and look at some more examples. Pause the video, look at the examples on your screen, and try to respond using the formulaic expression, neither, auxiliary verb, subject. In the first example, we have a be verb in the simple present, but it's a negative statement. To agree with this, we would say, neither am I. In the second example, we have a simple past verb. It's a regular simple past verb using the negative auxiliary verb didn't. Our response here, neither did I. And the final example, we have the negative of a regular simple present verb. And so here we would respond with, neither do I. So now that we've learned how to agree with both positive and negative statements, let's move on to disagreeing. Now, disagreeing with a positive statement means that you are not agreeing with someone who has not used a negative word, like not or never. In this case, our response is going to follow the formulaic expression subject plus negative auxiliary. And in this case, because we're having conversations, we're going to use the contracted form when possible. Let me give you an example. If my conversation partner says, I am hungry, and I don't feel the same way, I disagree with that statement, my response would be, I'm not. Notice I have used the contracted form of the auxiliary am not. Let's do another example. I watched YouTube last night. Notice the original sentence includes a simple past verb, so my response would be, I didn't. It's the negative form of the simple past auxiliary verb. And another example, if my conversation partner uses a modal verb, for example, I must go to bed early, my response could be, I mustn't. Now, in these cases, these are very direct responses. And to make it a bit softer, a bit more polite, it's often common to use filler words like, oh, really? These make our statements softer and not as direct. So as another example, I am hungry. I'm not. Or, I watched YouTube last night. Really? I didn't. Notice that in these cases, our responses seem more polite and not as direct. So now let's go ahead and look at some more examples. Go ahead and pause your video. Remember, you're going to disagree with these positive statements and use the formulaic expression subject plus negative auxiliary verb. Okay, and in the first example, we have a simple present be verb, and so we're going to disagree by saying, I'm not. In the second example, we have a regular simple past verb, and to disagree, we're going to say, I didn't. And in our third example, be careful, this is a regular simple present verb, so our negative auxiliary is going to be, I don't. Now let's move on to disagreeing with negative statements. And this can be a bit confusing for students to understand. Once again, a negative statement is a statement using a negative word, like not or never. In these cases, we disagree. So we feel the opposite of what our companion is saying. Now, keep in mind for these statements, we're going to use the formulaic expression subject plus positive auxiliary verb. This is the opposite of what our companion is saying. So for example, if they say, I am not hungry, but I feel hungry, I'm going to disagree by saying, I am. Or if they say, I didn't watch YouTube last night, and I disagree, I would say, I did. Or finally, I can't swim, but I disagree, I would say, I can. And once again, we are going to use our filler words to soften the more direct approach. So really, oh, and other filler words will help to soften our expressions. So for example, I am not hungry. I am. Or, I can't swim. Really? I can. Now go ahead, pause your video one more time, and this time let's look at these statements with negative words in them. Remember, you're going to disagree with these statements by using your subject and the positive auxiliary verb. In our first example, we have the present progressive verb in negative form, and so our response will be, I am. Our second example is our simple past verb. However, this is in the simple past be verb. So our opposite here would be, I was. And finally, in our third example, we have the simple present verb in the negative form, and our response here will be, I do. Thank you for watching this video on how to agree and disagree in English. Be sure to check out the description box below, as I've put some extra bonus content so you can continue practicing the strategies we've learned today. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because in my next video, I'll be going through 5 different misconceptions in English. You don't want to miss it.